It's Tuesday, January 18. Coming up live on The View, their shocking hot topics. From this morning's announcement that Regis is calling it quits, to why Oprah said being a teen mom would have ruined her life, and what Camille Grammer said about introducing their kids to Kelsey's fiancé before they're even divorced. Plus, Betty White's revealing how she spent her 89th birthday last night, and why she had a reunion with her former co-star Mary Tyler Moore in prison. Then, the man behind Bravo's biggest reality hits, Andy Cohen, has the behind-the-scenes dish on all of the Real Housewives, and a sneak peek at the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills finale that you won't believe. All that, hot topics, and more, coming up live on The View.
She's on a Disney cruise. I hope it's warm because, boy, it's cold here, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Well, we all have to thank this audience. It is so cold and rainy,
yes.
And you all stood in line for hours.
Outside?
Outside.
In the snow.
I just want to tell you, we would not do this for you. Thank you.
It's snow and rain.
Snow and rain. And
wow.
Okay,
yes.
So a big announcement this morning. To us, a shocking announcement that our friend Regis Philbin just made on his show this morning. Take a look.
Every now and then you have an announcement to make around here. And I don't want to alarm anybody, but I have to tell you this because it's going to happen, and the station needs to know, and Gilman needs to know, and we all need to know. But this will be my last year on this show. No, I know, it's been a long time. It's been 28 years since I've been here.
You know, he's such a wonderful friend to this show as well. He was almost our first guest, wasn't he, Joy?
I think he was very... He comes whenever we need him to, you know, but maybe this is not his final answer.
Well,
I don't think it is.
His audience grown, all of you grown, and you know, whatever he wants to do is okay with us. We have this big special called Life and Death. Nice, cheery subject on February 1st about all the different people who had open heart surgery. David Letterman and Regis and Robin Williams and so on. He was good, and he was great on that.
Dick Cheney?
He didn't have open heart surgery.
He didn't. He said this morning he had 5 heart attacks. I didn't know that.
Well, he's still going.
You gave them all to him.
Don't blame me. No. But, you know, it's funny because Regis is retiring. Betty White, I was reading, she's on the show today. She's cutting back. She's saying she feels... But Hugh Hefner is picking out engagement rings. I mean, what does this say about older people?
More power to her. More power. Speaking as one who's still on the air, more power to them. Speaking of power, so you had power as a judge on the Miss America, but you and I were talking this morning, and you said something that surprised me.
What?
You don't remember?
No, well, I've said a few things.
You said that you thought that the bathing suit competition was obsolete. But I mean, that's one of the reasons that people watch, because here are these gorgeous girls and, you know, bathing suits.
They all looked great in the bathing suit. There they are now.
I mean, that's the winner.
Tell the truth. We can't get enough of it. We want to look at them. We're searching for cellulite. It doesn't exist. The men love the show because of the bathing suit competition. But you have to admit it's a throwback. It's a throwback. But it's pre-Gloria Steinem. It's not... We don't want to watch women parading around in their bathing suits anymore.
It's odd, though, Joy, because we see less and less clothing now, though. So in effect, it's actually not retro because people are wearing, you know, fewer pieces of clothing than they did ever before on television. That doesn't mean that they're right to do that or that we're right to ogle it. I agree. Look, I think the competition should be they have to do things in their bathing suit. Like, look, when you're a mom. Like, for instance, chase 3 kids around the beach with, like, shovels in your bathing suit. Because there's no hiding anything when you're doing that. You're not posed perfectly.
But,
but you can't play the accordion. You can get your boobs cut in it.
I think they should have to do action.
Do mostly men watch this or women?
No, but I like, you know what? I know know what you're going to say.
The lesbianism is coming out. Here we go.
I like it. I like to see those gorgeous bodies. And I also like it when they play the piano and recite the.
It's well-rounded.
Listen, I don't care one way or the other. I'm just saying. I mean,
we've made it on the record.
I just think that it's old news. You know, it's like women need to move ahead, not backwards.
And judging women based on, I don't know, this or that, it seems like a competition, right? That's not antiquated. I mean, I think the entire thing, you would have to then make the argument that the entire event is antiquated.
But if you're in a competition and all the girls they're all pretty, they all have some talent, they all can talk, now you decide which one represents America the best, that's a different kind of contest.
Yeah, but a little bit of sex and a little bit of beauty and a little bit
of... sometimes
it's objectifying women when you see them half naked. That's the point. It's objectifying women.
The entire competition,
men do this. When they do it, you don't take it seriously.
Because
it's only when women do it.
No, but it's the girly magazines that get sold. Well, I'm not going to get into that. But
yeah.
Can I get into something else?
Sure.
Okay, while we're talking about things that happened in the past, Piers Morgan was on with us yesterday. He has replaced Larry King. And he did a one-hour interview with our friend Oprah. Yeah. And one of the things that she said, which I think may have surprised people, she talked about losing her baby. The baby was born and died. And she was only 14 years old. Take a look at what she said, and then we'll discuss it.
When the baby died, the baby was never brought home from the hospital, and the baby died, I knew that it was my second chance. So I went back to school, and nobody knew. Because had anybody had known at that time, I wouldn't have been able to be head of the student council. I wouldn't have been able to be speaking champion in forensics. I wouldn't have been able to be Miss Fire Prevention. I wouldn't have been chosen as one of the 2 teenagers in the state of Tennessee to go to the White House Conference on Youth. None of those things would have happened, and the entire trajectory of my life would have been different.
Well, she also said, this was 43 years ago, remember, but she also said, which I think was maybe more shocking to people, that she had no feelings at all about this baby, that all she felt was relief. Even when I said that, you all sort of went, I can understand why she was relieved, and I guess one can understand why she had no feelings about this baby.
Well, you know, her father also had said to her when she moved in with her dad, he didn't know she was pregnant, and he said, I'd rather have a daughter floating down the Cumberland River than bring shame on the family with an illegitimate child.
I understand that.
So I'm saying, can you...
the emotion, that the fact
but at 14, when you know, your parents at 14 influence a lot of how you're feeling. Sure. So when you're feeling like that is the worst thing that could happen, your father's saying that, and you're living with him, and you're fearful of that, and you're 14 years old with those kind of emotions, I can completely understand why she had no emotion when she had that baby.
Yeah, it's very understandable, and we have to realize how much things have changed. There were not single mothers then. I mean, it was I was going to say it was a tragedy that the baby died, but in her life it wasn't a tragedy.
And it was pre Roe v. Wade also, by the way.
Right, it was surely a different time. I mean, you can, bring your kids into work. I do it, you do it. I mean, it's maybe would not even have been acceptable. Then you wouldn't even have had the job. You wouldn't have had it without the child if you were a woman.
When my child was born, I was on the Today Show. I never brought my child in. I mean, today you bring your children in, you can come in and, nurse them backstage, practically nurse them on the air, everything's welcome.
Did I do that? I may have.
But I never brought my child in, and I've said it would be as if I brought in a dog that wasn't housebroken and peed all over the desk. I mean, I just never did it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know it. I think that message is unique.
I don't even mean being on the air. I never brought my child into the studio.
Of course not. There was so much at risk then. Now, it's different. I also think that the message of my life would never have been as good with a child is something that is unique to Oprah. And I think also that you don't know what the trajectory would have been for anybody else.
I'm not quite sure she was saying, I don't think my life would have been as good.
I think she didn't say that. I'm not assuming that. She said it just would not have had the trajectory that it did.
Right.
And we don't know.
She said I wouldn't have had this life. And that's truthful, I think, for many of us. Sure. Because I know I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. We only moved out to California because of a divorce. If my parents hadn't gotten divorced, I would not be doing this. I would have not got on stage to get rid of the pain. I would have been back in Illinois. I'd have been a Jehovah's Witness with 3 kids knocking on folks' door with my watch. Yes. Sure. Yeah, I would have been and ironing clothes, looking at the view, going, how you gonna say that today? That's what I would have been doing. So I think
things in life do make you change. I mean, if I hadn't gotten a divorce, I don't think I'd be sitting here. I don't.
What do you think you would have been doing?
Because I think that I would have been accompanying him in his life more.
And I would,
well, I would have had a life. It's not like I would have been crazy or unhappy.
But not this.
But I wouldn't be doing this. No.
Speaking of divorce, I want to bring something else up. Andy Cohen is here today. He's the man behind Bravo, all those reality hits like The Real Housewives of this or The Real Housewives of that and stuff. And one of them, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, is it stars Kelsey Grammer, soon-to-be ex-wife Camille. And she recounts how uncomfortable it was when she and her 2 young children met Kelsey's new fiancé before she and Kelsey were divorced. So, and they're very young, aren't they? They're like, what, 2 and 5?
Is it 5 and 8 or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So when is it too soon, or when is the time to bring your children to meet the new...
The new what?
The new soon-to-be wife.
The soon-to-be wife. Now, I think it was like, you said it was like about 5 months.
The kids are 9 and 6, I'm being told.
I think about the time period that they met her, I think that was good. You know, I think for me, I'm like, I think you got to feel good that the kids want to see this other person.
Do they?
No. I don't know.
They do not
want to see.
How do you know that?
I've been through it. But I'm saying
I've been through it. That's how I know.
That they don't want to see her.
I don't think that the kids need to see her for years. Frankly, years.
The wedding. Their wedding, not their wedding.
It's like men have this need to bring the new girl into the picture before the dust has settled, before the rage is gone.
To what, justify?
Just to bring her in. Oh, here she is to show her.
But that sounds
frankly,
like
she looks exactly. This new girl looks exactly like Camille.
Yeah.
Look at them. Wow. Look at the 2 of them.
Oh my God, they look like sisters.
I mean, just why trade one for the other? They look exactly alike.
Story.
But it sounds like what you're saying. It sounds like a lot of your issues are coming up with the other woman and not the child. I mean,
but you introduced Jeffrey to the other woman.
Yes, and Jeffrey looks forward to going to see her, and that makes me feel good because that means when he goes there, there's some positive stuff going on. That means you're not mistreating my child. So aside from all the ugliness that goes on with the adults, Jeffrey being over there, I feel very comfortable. I wanted him.
There's no reason why a father can't be with his children without her, without the other woman.
What if she's living there and then they go to see him and he has, partial custody?
Take the kid out. Take her out. Listen, I regret it. I think that it would have been better if she didn't meet her. That's all.
See, I think adult issues have to be separated from what's good for the child.
You regret that
my daughter ever met the new woman.
Really?
Yeah,
why?
because I don't like her.
There you go.
I love you.
Well, we really missed you last week. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics. Reagan is coming up, and his son, Ron Jr., has a new book, My Father at 100, where he claims in the book that his father showed signs of Alzheimer's during his first term in office. Specifically, he mentions the 1984 presidential debate with Democrat Walter Mondale, where Ron Jr. writes that his father looked lost and bewildered. Well, as it happens, I was the moderator of that debate. It was in 1984. It was 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's a long time. And maybe he, stumbled over one answer or so forth. But I don't remember. I mean, 1 hour and 40 minutes to answer questions and to answer questions from a panel, and he was with it. Oh, my God. Is that
me? Let's see that again.
Wait, I didn't see it. I was looking at you, but we can't see Barbara again?
You want to see my hideous outfit?
Yeah, there you are.
Ron Jr.'s half-brother, Michael, said, this is not true, this didn't happen. I'm going to say something that I probably saw more of President Reagan in those years than either of his sons. He was not really close to them. And I did interview after interview. I didn't see any signs of dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever until after he left office. Now, this morning, Ron Reagan, who's a very pleasant fellow, and I like him a lot, was on GMA, and he said, he sort of disputed what he said. He said, I didn't say that. In fact, I said exactly the opposite, that I did not see symptoms of dementia or anything like that when he was in office. I wasn't thinking, gee, I'm seeing symptoms of Alzheimer's here. So his half-brother says he said all of this because he's trying to sell books. So after a parent is dead, I'm talking to my daughter. How much do you write about them? Just to
You know what I think is unfortunate too is I think today there's no medical backing. You know, I don't see a doctor at MD following his son's name there, his adopted son's name. I think that it's also unfortunate. You know, I always saw Ronald Reagan. He was really the first president that I listened to and watched on television, and I was in love with his presidency. I think he was an incredible man. My grandfather died of Alzheimer's. And I think when I think of both of those men, and I think an effort should be made to not try to focus and define them on what they may have forgotten, whether it be during their presidency or during their 60s or whatever, but define them by the unforgettable things that they did in their lives.
Yes,
and I think it's unfortunate.
But if indeed he had Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever it is that Ron Jr. says that he saw signs of while he was president. By the way, Nancy Reagan. Well, he says he would have stepped down. Nancy Reagan, Ron Jr. quoted her as saying she was very proud and happy with the book.
Well, what I was going to say is that history is history. We're not talking about your grandfather. I'm sorry about the story, but this is a president of the United States who is making major decisions that affected everyone's life.
Do you think they were affected? I don't think that they were.
If the Reagan boys were Kennedys, JFK would have been a virgin, according to your thinking. The guy, we now know that he was a womanizer, that a lot of the decisions he made may have been
not
John Kennedy Sr. And also that now Nixon tapes are coming out, and we're finding out what an evil guy he was, and what a bigot he was.
Let me clarify and separate the thoughts.
We need to know this for history.
Sure, but we don't. I mean, where is there medical information that would prove this? And if it were out there, I'm sure we would have known by now.
There's something called participant observation.
I'm not sure
and that's what Ron Reagan Jr. is talking about.
And he was there. And I'm wondering because he also said with Alzheimer's, a lot of the symptoms are shown before they even diagnose it. So I don't know if he's going in hindsight. Not that he saw him then and said, "Oh my God, he's got Alzheimer's."
Wait a second. One point during the Iran-Contra debate, some of you have to look that up. Ronald Reagan kept saying, "I don't remember. I don't remember." Well, maybe he really didn't remember.
Right, but say it was not an intentional thing. Alzheimer's is tricky because as you age, it is natural to have subtle memory loss. And I think that's the tricky thing when people say
between Alzheimer's and dementia. There's a difference between Alzheimer's and memory loss.
Of course.
I forgot what you said already.
And I'm trying to forget what you said.
Can I just say, Ron Jr. also said he'd already been shot. He's in his mid-70s. He's in the toughest job in the world, and I'm worried about him all the time for all kinds of reasons. Okay, I also did a big interview, like 6 months, an hour's interview with Reagan, called it Home on the Ranch. So he was just fine. So the big question here is, should this be something that's that if he didn't know, as you say, should he have speculated? On the other hand, it's a son who loved them, and it's going to sell books. So, you know,
it's history.
There we are.
It's important to put it in the hopper.
It is, but you're looking at Barbara, who sat with him through history, asking hours of questions and would never suspect it.
But if family sees things that people on the outside might not see.
Family that's not around, according to, I mean...
Well, okay, all right. Well, you know.
I mean,
now conveniently, he recognizes
the right wing has canonized the guy. Maybe they need to take another look at this. That's all.
I don't think it demonizes someone to have Alzheimer's. I think it's demonic to go and write something that may not even be true just to sell a book.
Well, you don't know that that's true if that's what he's doing.
I don't. I said I think it would be demonic to do that.
We don't know if it's true.
And if we knew it was true, we wouldn't remember. But we will remember to come right back with even more hot topics.
All right.
Joy has something to announce, but it's a good thing.
I'm not retiring, no. No, my show on HLN, which is normally at 9 o'clock, has moved to 10 o'clock. So I want everybody who's been watching the show to not say, "Oh my God, she's got there." I will be there only an hour later, so please tune in.
I like that.
Okay, so...
Thank you.
So tonight, the husband of Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, the astronaut Mark Kelly, sat down for an interview with my colleague Diane Sawyer on a special edition of 2020, and he talked about forgiveness. Here's what he has to say about the parents of the man who shot his wife. Take a look.
Have you thought what you would say to Jared Loughner's parents? What if they asked see you?
I'd probably see them. You know, I don't think it's their fault. I mean, Gabby has 2 stepdaughters, and I have children, and I'm sure they love their son, and they must be, as distraught over this as all of us are.
Can you imagine ever saying anything to him?
Him? No. No.
By the way, that full interview is going to be on with Diane and Mark Kelly tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, a special edition of 2020 on ABC. But we're talking about forgiveness. And what he's saying is it's not their fault, and I would see them. Do you?
Well, it's not their son is mentally ill, and if they can be faulted with anything, it's that they didn't observe and report. That's one thing they could have done, I think. Even when you're so close and you see it up close, you still should be able to see the son is not right.
But, I did 2020 on Friday. I showed pieces of 3 interviews I had done. One with Mark David Chapman, who murdered John Lennon. One with the parents of John Hinckley Jr. And there were signs, but the psychiatrist said, ignore them, throw him out of the house. Then there was another family where the judge said, there's nothing wrong with you, it's your parents. So sometimes you see the signs and you don't know what to do with them.
I mean, it's so weird because being a parent, you don't have this manual. You're kind of flying by the seat of your pants sometimes, and a lot of parents do that tough love, and I think in hindsight you look back and say...
It's not really tough love, though. It's more like, what's wrong with my son? Something's off, and he needs psychiatric counseling.
But if you are his parents, you would desperately want that forgiveness. You would desperately want someone to say,
well, that was very good of him to say
and
that.
I think by grace alone do you, under such extreme circumstances, and more so for the people who even lost their loved ones,
and the
are able to apply forgiveness in the situation.
The person that does the forgiving, it's to, and I'm not speaking for him, but to hold on to all that, it's draining. So I don't know for Captain Kelly if he had to say, I got to forgive to let it go so I can move on, so I can be who she needs to be.
But he does not want to talk to Loeffner.
No.
Right.
It's very different talking to the parents, and you can say, maybe they should have known, than to talk to somebody who did this incredibly awful act on his
Also,
life.
the forgiveness has to take time also. It just happened 2 weeks ago, isn't it? Give this a little time to be angry. Be angry first, and then we'll worry about being forgiving.
He doesn't seem to be angry.
No.
Well...
He's too busy worrying about his wife, I think.
Yeah, you can't be helping someone be angry.
He gave him a back rub, and who every day seems to be getting a little better.
Steve is like, she gave him a back rub and you won't give me one? The woman
He has a point, Joy. He's got a point.
I'm not sure you've even forgiven him for some of the things he's done, right?
Yes. Back rub and forgiveness, Joy.
Steve has done nothing wrong, I have to say, publicly. He has never done anything wrong.
Wow.
Not to me.
But you still won't give him a back rub.
I will, though. I mean, he never really asked for it. Men have to learn to speak up. I want what I want, and you know what you want, you guys.
Steve!
I think in that respect, he's been speaking up for years, girl.
Yeah, she just wasn't listening.
You weren't listening.
Okay, we're going to be right back with the delightful Betty White.
Turned 89 years young with a lot to celebrate. Being named AP Entertainer of the Year, getting 2 Screen Actors Guild Award nominations, and a new season of her hit show, Hot in Cleveland. Please welcome back Betty White.
Around, I'm not leaving this.
That's right. So we have to say, Betty, happy birthday because you turned 89 yesterday.
I'm 89.
Yes. And last time When you came here last time, you made a big point to say you were 88 and a half.
Right.
So 6 months difference. What have you been? You've been partying a lot? What's been going on?
I've been working.
Yeah.
I've been working, and I've been writing a book, and I've been doing all kinds of stuff.
A movie.
It keeps me off the street, and I've been doing Barbara Walters.
One of our 10 most fascinating people.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, and then the Associated Press named you Entertainer of the Year for 2010. Are you sick of yourself yet?
Oh, yes. Oh, am I ever.
You said to me you were overexposed.
And if I'm as sick of myself, you can imagine how the
Nobody is. That's the thing. Nobody is sick of you.
So that we are actually having a bunch of your friends from Hot in Cleveland, your co-stars, are going to be here tomorrow to brag on you because you guys won you've nominated for 2 SAG awards, one of which is yours individually, that nomination, but you've won so many awards, rightfully so. How does it feel this week, birthday week, with all the success and awards you've had to get one more nomination?
I'm milking it for all it's worth. But I have to tell you, well, you know about the girls, Jane Leaves and Valerie Bertinelli and Wendy Malick are the nicest, greatest gals to work with. We all adore each other. We have a love affair. And
you know what? Speaking of adoring your co-stars, you said to me in our interview that the truth is that you like animals more than people.
That's true. I don't make it a secret.
No. Why do you love animals, especially dogs, more than people?
Oh, they never lie to you. They never... you know when they tell you something, they mean it.
They love you unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
Yeah, unconditionally.
They don't criticize your hair or you say you're too fat. They're the greatest.
They just love you. That's that simple. I got 2 dog fixes this morning. I'm back here. And one was a German Shepherd at the first show I did, and he just calmed me down and made me feel better. Yeah. And the other was a very wet Black Labrador Retriever. And I felt swell since.
Now, you're going to be on Letterman tonight.
Tonight.
What are you preparing for Letterman, I wonder?
Preparing for Letterman?
Yeah. Don't prepare for Letterman.
Oh, no, it's more fun if you just go in and wing it.
Wing it?
Just wing it.
That's the way we used to do shows.
Yes, that's right.
No pre-interviews, no anything. Now, somebody calls you up and asks you a lot of questions, and you kind of leave your interview on the phone with the assistant, where in the old days with Jack Parr and those people, you went in and you had no idea where you were going.
Letterman still does that. Letterman, they pre-interview you, walk out, and he asks whatever he wants. That's why he's wonderful.
Yeah, and you have fun, and he hears. If you say something that's down another road, he'll go down that road with you. It's fun.
You know, I know that we are so excited because last season, your character, Elka, in Hot in Cleveland, you went to jail because you were hiding stolen property.
That's right.
So it opens up, and we see you in jail, and people are going to be really excited to see who your cellmate is. Take a look.
If you're going
Of course, that is Mary Tyler Moore. Now, it's been 30 years since you and Mary Tyler Moore worked together. So, I mean, when you guys got back together on the show Hot in Cleveland, did you get back into an instant rhythm?
Well, we never really got out of that rhythm. We were kind of best friends before I ever did the Mary Tyler Moore show. In fact, Mary and her then-husband, Grant Tinker, were the first people that my husband, Alan Ludden, ever introduced me to. So we've stayed friends, and she lives in New York, and I live in Los Angeles, but we on the phone, you know, about every month.
Sue Ann Nivens will go down as one of the funniest characters on television ever, I think. Sue Ann Nivens, the character you play.
The neighborhood nymphomaniac.
When she would kick the oven door closed, it was hilarious.
That was an ad lib. Jay Sandridge, our wonderful director, Phyllis and I, Cloris Leachman and I were across, and the open oven door was there, and he said, we can't play the whole scene in front of an empty hole like that. And he said, how are we going to get it closed? I was kidding. I said, well, how about this? And he left it in.
You know, we actually have a clip from 1975 of you and Mary giving each other a little trouble. Take a look.
Morning, little newsboy. And now, moving to another part of the anatomy.
Mary, that was a lovely party yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
I couldn't have done better myself. A tactful lie is no sin.
Well, Sue Ann, in that case, I enjoyed having you.
Adorable. I just love it.
You know, Betty, we love it. You just don't stop, because even now you're about to appear in an upcoming Hallmark film called The Lost Valentine. So this one's really special to you. Why is that?
It was very special because I'm so used to doing comedy, and this one is a very poignant, very dramatic show, and I really enjoyed doing it.
Yes. We so enjoy you, Betty. We absolutely love you. Happy birthday. You know anything special?
Oh, no, that was last night.
Oh! Our thanks to Betty White. Season 2 of Hot in Cleveland premieres tomorrow night on TV Land, and Betty's Hallmark Hall of Fame movie airs Sunday, January 30th. We'll be right back.
Strong reactions to the Real Housewives reality franchise. Some think it's a trash-talking, table-flipping good time, while others think it's the downfall of society. So let's see what the man behind them and every other show on Bravo has to say about it. Please welcome to the table, Andy Cohen.
Thank you.
So, Andy...
I think I know the answer. I think it's a good time.
It's a good time.
It's a good time,
But, you know,
yes.
a lot of people think of you as the host of The Housewives and also of Watch What Happens, but you're actually a bigger deal than that.
Well, it depends who you ask. I do have a day job. Okay, I do have a day job that doesn't involve drinking cocktails on TV, and that is that I am Executive Vice President of Programming and Development at Bravo, and basically I work with the greatest team in TV.
So all of these shows are yours. I mean, your creations are yours.
Well, with a great team, and we develop the shows, and we cast them, and we give notes on every cut of everything on the air.
You not only have the Housewives franchise, but you have the Millionaire Matchmaker, the Rachel Zoe Project, Flipping Out, and Top Chef, just to name a few. I got to know, what is the formula that makes people so crazy about these shows?
I think it's great. I think the storytelling is great. I think that the characters are really unique, and a lot of them are just really strong people doing creative things. In terms of the Housewives, I think that is just, I think the storytelling's great, and I think it's like, it's just guilt-free fun, and you can watch it, and you can think that you know all these people, and you can gossip about it with your friends, and again, I think that the storytelling
is... And the bitchiness pays off, too.
It does.
There's always one that they don't like. I mean,
but
how much of it is... Let me put it another way. How much do you have to tape on and on and on and on?
A lot.
To do, I mean, how much of it is real and reality, and how much of it is what you know, argue, scream at each other, you know?
It's fully unscripted. It is edited. It is absolutely edited, but it's unscripted. And we shoot for a period of about 4 or 5 months to get what winds up to be, you know, maybe 12 or 15 hours of shows.
Some people say that the shows are guilty pleasure. Other people think that the entire network there is, like, you know, ruining television. This reality TV is ruining it. Where do you stand?
I know where I stand. Exactly. Look, I think they were saying that about soaps. No, please. I think they were saying that about soaps 30 years ago, and so no, I don't think so. Look, we just won the Emmy for Best Reality Show with Top Chef.
Wait a second, you beat Conan last night.
You know, which was great. We have a show called Work of Art, which is a search for the next great artist, which Entertainment Weekly called one of the 10 best shows of last year. So, you know, I think there's something for everyone.
You know, a lot of the people who've been on have legal troubles, financial troubles, divorces.
Right.
Did you look for this kind? Did you go out of your way to find people who were slightly... What shall I say?
What will you say?
I don't know. Who are you?
You know what? We find not crazy.
Troubles, right?
Fun. Strong personalities is what we look for. People with something to say. And whether it is Jeff Lewis on Flipping Out, or Rachel Zoe, or the Millionaire Matchmaker, or our Housewives, these are people who are strong personalities.
What about the Salawis?
The Salahis? What about them?
What about them? Okay. Are they coming back? They were on. They were
unclear.
off.
Unclear.
Why unclear?
We're figuring that out right now.
What's your problem with them? I mean,
what's my problem with them?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just say I'm putting them back on?
You know what? We're talking about that show specifically.
What we're talking about, right?
The Salahis who are on the Housewives of D.C. I love the Housewives of D.C. And
what's your problem with them? Why not put them on?
I don't have a problem with them.
Then why aren't they on?
I'm
not getting anywhere. Do you notice?
No, you're not. And I'm being grilled by Barbara Walters, which is a very intense experience.
The other women don't want them on. right?
That's I mean, at the reunion show, they did not care.
And that's another thing at your reunion shows, because I watch it. You got people flipping tables over. You know, I mean, they get crazy.
Do you
These
park an
people
ambulance outside?
I've been flipped. I was flipped.
How do you deal, Andy, with these high maintenance folks? I watch Nene Leakes all the time on Atlanta House.
Yes.
They are high maintenance. How do you deal with them?
You know what? I love them all. I listen to them, basically. I think the key to working with people, the key to working with strong people is just listening to them and hearing what they have to say and hearing what their concerns are and what they want. And I think that is the same in business as it is in relationships.
But your demands are enormous. Then what do you do?
You have to draw the line and say, that's not going to work, but here's what you can do.
When they're doing something, do you go, if you're not getting the juice, do you go back in and say, you know, argue more, I need more stuff?
Well, for the reunion shows, we tape those over a long period of time. We did the Atlanta reunion show last week, and we did Beverly Hills a couple weeks ago. So it's about an 8-hour shoot. So if you sit there talking about something for a very long time, it gets emotional and it gets heated. And we're not talking about someone's, grocery list. We're talking about things that are really, dramatic.
It's probably encouraged also to get down and dirty, right?
Well, I mean, look, I'm asking very, very strong questions about very dramatic incidences. Right. So
but
that's what happens.
Right. This Thursday, the finale of Beverly Hills Housewives airs. You bought us a sneak peek. Let's take a look. Okay.
Well, when we got back from the Tonys, he lay down next to me and put his arm around me, and he snuck out as soon as I went to sleep. It was terrible. I felt like I didn't exist. We've been together for 14 years? Married for almost 13? Who is this woman? I mean, whoever this is, I mean, I do in my heart believe it's a woman. I mean, does she not know that she's destroying a family? I felt so bad. She's destroying my family. She's destroying my children. They're gonna be just devastated without their dad. What are you gonna do?
Real life.
It's coming back next year.
I hope so, yeah.
Okay, now
is Camille coming back?
I hope so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I hope they'll all be back.
Okay, now Camille Grammer, she's on The Real Housewives. We were looking at Camille, and she's going through all of this stuff we talked about in the Hot Topics with Kelsey and the new wife. Is it for you, when stuff like this happens, is it like you hit the jackpot when you got?
I mean, look, I think it's dramatic, but I don't like anyone to be in pain or have, it's real life. You talk about, is it real? This is what happens. We're shooting for 4 or 5 months. This is what happens when we're shooting.
It's like,
No, exactly.
I think you put the personalities together. Thanks for coming by. You are a good time. Andy Cohen, watch What Happens Live. By the way, airs Sunday and Thursday nights on Bravo. We'll be right back.
When they talk about the chemistry of the housewives, it reminds me of us.
Also, 4 out of 5 of us are divorced, also. I'm just pointing that out.
I'm so happy you pointed that out. Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view.